I want to go back to the decapitation strike by Israel. How effective do you think it was?
Well, if it had been as effective as the Israelis had hoped, then I think Iran would behave like a beached whale at this point and simply be a target for more and more Israeli strikes. The problem when you attack people at the top of any structure is very straightforward. Those people will be replaced. And the assumption that you've struck someone who's indispensable is absurd. Charles de Gaulle was once approached by one of his general officers and said, Mr. President, you need to be protected. After all, you are indispensable. And de Gaulle laughed and said, the cemeteries are full of indispensable men. It's simply not the case. So the notion that you're going to kill a few people, and listen, if you're not killing thousands, you're killing a few, is going to somehow or another turn the situation around to your advantage is delusional.
So you don't think Iran has been significantly weakened?
Well, I think they were weakened. What's this word significant? Let's get back to reality. Iran is a nation of 90 million. It's the size of Western Europe. It has thousands upon thousands of missiles. How do you weaken that? You can temporarily disrupt it. You can suppress it for a short time. But we've discovered pretty clearly that, short of the use of a nuclear weapon, and that's not an impossibility, that Iran is absolutely, I would argue, unbeatable.
And how far will Israel go?
Well, this depends at this point very heavily on the United States and decisions made in Washington. Because Israel's position grows weaker by the day and Iran's grows stronger. Why? Because Iran's arsenal of missiles isn't quite inexhaustible, but pretty damn close. They're not going to run out of missiles. They're not going to run out of support. And they've got plenty of supplies and technical assistance pouring into the country from many, many different locations, not just in the Middle East, but also Russia, China, North Korea. There may be others that we don't know about. Iran's position grows stronger every day in the international arena. More and more countries are coming over to Iran's cause. Initially, it's psychological. Over time, it will become more material. Israel's position is the opposite. Israel is increasingly isolated, and it cannot withstand these onslaughts on its own. Remember, every time you fire a missile at a particular target that's incoming, in other words, we're talking about air defense missiles, it's habitual that you fire 2 or 3 missiles against every 1 missile that is aimed at you. Well, you're going to run out of missiles pretty quickly. And Israel's very small, smaller than the state of New Jersey. And Iran is the size of Western Europe. And there are more than 90 million people living in Iran. So while Israel can certainly make life miserable for Iran, it can do a lot of damage. And of course, it always has nuclear warheads. And if it decides that it needs to use a nuclear warhead in order to win its war, that's very dangerous, because at that point, I would be very surprised if nuclear warheads did not show up in Tehran.